All right, hello, welcome back. Good to see you all again. Today we're going to be tackling the idea, the concept, and the disease called degeneration. I'm sure many of you heard of the term arthritis or osteoarthritis. I'm sure you've heard of the term degenerative joint disease or degenerative disc disease, and the discs being in between each of our spinal levels from our neck down all the way into our pelvis. Degeneration, arthritis. I'm sure these are hot terms that you've heard before. So we're going to get into it today. We're going to explain what it is, how our body views it, and how our body adapts to it, and finally what we can do about it from a healthcare and preventative point of view, right? Wouldn't it be amazing if you could keep yourself healthy so that you wouldn't be in a state of disease because it's mostly black or white, right? It's either you're healthy or you're not healthy, you're sick or you're not sick. But would you be interested in knowing how you can stay healthy or be healthy for longer or get over sicknesses quicker or stay healthier and make your family healthier or make your entire surrounding environment healthier, how you can be healthy and how you can stay healthy? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Something that happens to everybody, arthritis, right? It's a hot term. Degeneration, right? It's a hot term. So let's talk a little bit about it and what it looks like actually. So let's get started. So here we have a picture of a rock in water, and I have the word degeneration next to it. What does a rock in water have to do with degeneration? So in nature, everybody knows, you can see the picture if you can visualize this image of a rock being pounded on by water over and over and over again for hundreds and hundreds of years. What's going to happen is that rock is going to leave a trail for the water. It's going to leave a groove that the water has hit it on multiple times. Now the rock is eroded or degenerated from the water, right? Now, if you think about this, what's happening is the water is taking some of the rock away because it keeps hitting it and it keeps causing that friction or that trauma to the rock. Now, think of that. The water is pulling some of the rock away. Now our bodies do the complete opposite. When there is a point of contact in our body that deals with stress every single day, whether it's 6 hours, 8 hours of sitting, 6 to 8 hours of commuting, or lifting something for a long time, or a job of heavy labor, or a job of lifting weights, or something that you have to do physically demanding, or even just postural distortion that happens over time, over and over and over again. It's like something that continues happening to a certain part of our body every single day. How does our body react? The stress doesn't take rock or bone away from our body. Actually, what our bone does and what God designed our bodies to do so amazingly is protect the area, reinforce the area, send more bone and calcium to the area. So what ends up happening is, instead of like the rock wearing down over time and becoming smaller, the bones in our spine and in our body reinforce themselves and collect more calcium. This is called, like what we see here, degeneration. So this is degeneration in nature. The rock or the body breaks down, but actually our body breaks down in a different way, just for imagery reasons. Instead of being taken away from it, instead of the rock or the bone getting deteriorated, actually the body is so smart and is so masterfully designed by the one and only creator that it adds bone and it adds calcium to the area. So what does that do, right? So what's the problem? Okay, great, we're protecting it. So what's that do for us? So we'll find out right now. Is we have here a normal spine. Right here we have a normal spine with normal disc spaces and normal bone height, right? So what's the problem if we add more bone? Well, if we can see here, if we add more bone, then it decreases the space for the disc to operate in. It decreases the space for us to move in. You can think about it, if more bone is continually added, it takes away room for movements and it decreases our range of motion over time. This is called arthritis or arthritic disease or degenerative disc or joint disease. Some very common terms that we're all going to experience, right? So we can see spinal arthritis causes more bone to be put into place, unlike the rock, opposite to what happens with the rock. So more bone is put into place here, and it causes that friction, that inflammation, right? That stiffness, and at the end of the day, the pressure on the nerves. If the bone continues to be laid down in a portion of area that needs attention, or a point of area that keeps being pressurized on by nature, by our gravity, by our activities of daily living, the things that we do every single day that we're never going to be able to stop, for work, for school, for children, for whatever it is, if the body continues adding bone into the area, the bone takes up space. And when the bone takes up space, it leaves less room for muscles, ligaments, and overall nerves. That's why the tightness and the muscles and everything is associated to the space that is left over after the body tries to protect the area with bone density. Okay, so this is the difference between a healthy spine that doesn't have any arthritic changes and is fully self-regulated, versus a spine that is arthritic and the body is trying to protect itself the way that God made it, to protect itself by putting more bone in and protecting the area, because the body is asking for some kind of relief. What can I do? I'm getting hit right here really hard. Help me out. So what does the body do, and the amazing brain that we were created to have? Help me out. I'm getting hit right here in my neck so many times every single day. I'm driving every single day and I'm getting hit and I'm getting hit. All right, what does the body do? Adds bone. All right, let me add bone. Let me add bone. Let me add calcium. And what does that do? Unfortunately, it causes us to become arthritic over time. So that's what arthritis is. Okay, so what can we do about it? What can we do about it is we can realign the spine to better handle pressure, to better handle forces, and to better handle our body weight. What's happening here? This is a picture of me, by the way. What I'm doing here is, after full evaluation, after a chiropractic evaluation, postural testing, muscle testing, and x-rays, we determined that my weakest point here is in my low back. This is me right here, and this is a lot of us too, for the driving and the writing and the working at the desk. My weakest point is here. If we can, in my case, if we can bring the foundation, which is the mid to low of my back, up, then I can stand up straighter. I can point my chest up. I can point my sternum to the sky. I can feel more confident. I can look more confident, and I can carry myself with more power and posture as we correct this right here. So this is what we can do to realign the spine and prevent future arthritic disease from occurring. Would you like to know how your body, where your weak point is, where we can attack and prevent further degeneration? Would you like to know how you can help your body deal with aging, help your body deal with and become more active in the sports that you want to stay active in, the activities that you want to be a part of? How can I continue doing what I love to do, what I want to do, what I plan to do? How can I sustain myself and promote my body to keep up with what I want to do in life and what you want to do in life? How can we keep ourselves healthy? How can we take advantage of the amazing gift of self-natural healing that God has given us to our advantage? How can we promote our full lifeline energy potential through posture and through our spinal cord? Because we know that the spinal cord is the lifeline of energy, and it's the lifeline of everything that happens in our body, from our organs to our tissues to our muscles to our ligaments to our stomach to our breathing to our heart. We know that the spinal cord is the middle of it, it's the center of it, it's the focus of it, and it's the lifeline of it. How can we harness this energy? This is how we can line up the spinal cord. Now, if you look at it, we're lining up the spine, but what are we actually doing here? We're lining up the spinal cord. We're not just lining up the spine, we're lining up the spinal cord, and the spinal cord is the lifeline to your overall health. And if you could help yourself in this, would you want to tell your family? Would you want to tell your friends? Would you want to tell your kids? Would you want to save others? The same way you go to a nice restaurant and you want to tell everybody about it, you've got to have that same fire for, how can I help everyone? How can I share this knowledge with everyone? How can I tell everyone that the reason why their neck is hurting or their back is hurting or they're feeling numbness tingling in their hands and fingers and feet is because their spinal cord is not aligned, and because of the arthritic changes that continue to occur to all of us over time. Let's look at another phase of correction. This is specific for the cervical spine or the neck here. We can see that the yoke or the correction is being pulled into an extension. So this is called a cervical extension correction. This is what we call preventative health care. Okay, this is what we really want to focus on. How can we keep ourselves healthy? By preserving our lifeline. What is our lifeline? By preserving our spinal cord. We can preserve our spinal cord and prevent sickness through preventative health care and keeping ourselves healthy by aligning our spine and aligning our spinal cord. And I was again evaluated many different ways from a very detailed approach using a very specific technique to allow me to be cleared and approved for this type of care, right? And that is exactly what will and should happen to you and everyone that you love so dearly. How can we continue to evaluate and reevaluate and reassess our bodies as we continue to age, as we add or take away pressures, challenges, obstacles, things that we want to do and accomplish? How can we accomplish everything that our hearts and our minds desire for ourselves, for our future families, for our aging family members? How can we restore the true meaning of healthcare instead of always just dealing with the symptoms, instead of always just dealing with the pain? Let us learn how to become healthcare driven, how to become preventative care driven, how to become healthier overall. So we learned about arthritis and we learned about degeneration and we learned about what we can do for it and what we can do and what we can become due to the consciousness and the awareness that we now have with chiropractic healthcare, because the spinal cord is the lifeline of our entire existence. So thank you so much. Let's do it.